Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks bringing you the Daily SPY Report for Friday, January 7th, 2022. Before I jump into the charts, just as usual, want to encourage you to please click like each and every time you watch the Daily SPY Report. It does help us out a great deal with our web presence and the way we show up on search engine results on YouTube. So please click like each and every time, and subscribe to the Wicked Stocks YouTube channel. We'll apprise you of notifications each and every time new content has been uploaded from Wicked Stocks to our YouTube channel. That includes the Daily SPY Report, the Daily Triple Q Report, the weekly DIA, the weekly IWM. Starting next Sunday, the weekly Bitcoin. We also put out a free stock pick every week on YouTube, and there's other videos that we put out on a regular basis, and the sooner you see them, the more relevant the content is. So subscribing will provide you notification. Let's jump into the charts. I just want to show, this is sort of the picture I'd like to present going into next week, that the settlement on Wednesday below the 474.79 short-term channel bottom, after having tested this area. This was a zone of resistance. We got caught in that band for over a week. We closed below 474.79. And that has elicited, I'm going to say, a 1 to 2 week downside target at 454.03. I was saying 2 to 3 weeks, but we've got heightened volatility now, and we could quite easily get down to the mid 450s over the next 2 weeks, inside of 2 weeks, possibly by the end of next week. On the way down, we do have a 5/8 Fibonacci retracement at 460.78, and I like this. I'm not big on Fibonacci. I do draw Fibonacci retracements every which way that you can imagine. And what I look for is how they may line up with other areas. I probably should have drawn that horizontal line all the way across the far left of the page so you could see that it does intersect old highs and lows in a pretty meaningful way. So I do like that as a level to sort of perhaps stick your neck out for a 2 to 3 day bounce. But just keep in mind that we're still expecting the mid 450s after the sell-off this week and the settlement below the 474.79 formation. 454.03, by the way, is the start of a narrowing zone of meaningful midterm support down to 450.90 that can contain selling into February, possibly through February trade. And once we test it, if we test it, this market can stabilize and turn back up into the 480s and 490s or higher over the following weeks. Let's take a look at the support and resistance for today. I have these what I call soft intraday pivot points, containment levels at 464.45 below the market and 470.99 above the market. Now, all those minor points are carefully chosen for aggressive day traders, but the more meaningful of the two, the stronger of the two from what I can see, is 464.45 and 470.99. We could spend a good part of the day inside that zone, and both of those levels could contain activity for a good part of the day. What does a good part of the day mean? I'd say, on an hourly basis, maybe for half the day. I don't know. It's very subjective. But if we violate either of those levels, we can test the next notable level on an intraday basis. So that 460.78 5/8 Fibonacci I showed in the previous slide, if we break 464.45, and certainly if we open below 464.45, 460.78 is in reach today, where we could place a daily low and possibly bounce into the middle of next week. But if we close today below 460.78, we'll probably on Monday test that 454.03 channel bottom. Once again, the start of a range of support down to 450.90 that can absorb selling through February activity. Now, upside, if we push or open today above 470.99, that 474.79 formation is in reach, where once again we can top out perhaps through next week, and from there fall back into the mid 450s. This is where the possibility of 2 weeks rather than 1 week comes into play, where we actually challenge resistance, the ceiling, before continuing south into the mid 450s. So 474.79, a good zone to sell into if you're looking into later next week. But if we do close above 474.79, we should then test, I should say retest, that 480 even channel top, which we tested about 4 times over the last week and a half. It did obviously contain the highs so far, and it may well on its next attempt if we happen to test it next week. And once again, I don't expect that unless we close today, for instance, above 474.79. But the 480 formation, able to contain buying on a weekly basis. From there, we could fall back again into later January, but closing above 480 even would then indicate just the opposite. It would reverse momentum, pivot the market north into later January, and I would then expect the 490.38 formation. Well, under that kind of volatility, if we were to test 480 even within a few days and then close above it, say by the middle of next week, we're probably in reach of 490.38 within 3 to 5 days or so. That 490.38 rising channel top is, by the way, consistent with a ultra long-term trend line on the daily chart that you're probably familiar with if you've been watching the daily SPY report for the last few months. It has contained the highs well, the September highs beautifully, and most recently the October-November highs roughly when we rallied to within 1% of it. So this upper 480s, low 490s, rising daily, if tested over the coming weeks, able to absorb buying on a monthly basis, say through February. We could fall off from there in a meaningful way for the weeks to follow. And inversely, if we were to close above that zone, that is a significant buy signal, follow through strength into Q2. I would anticipate the 550s or higher over the following 3 to 5 months. Here's the support and resistance for today. I don't really need to reiterate anything I think I just said. You could rewind, the video if you want to hear what I said before, because everything is right here. So I'm going to leave you with that. I appreciate you watching. I'll be back Sunday for a Monday's Daily SPY Report. Please click like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. You have a great weekend, and we will talk soon.